The sky burned orange and red as the ships came down from the clouds. Ho watched them from the window of Outpost 9. There were hundreds of them, maybe thousands. They fell like dark rain upon the moon of 7B. He had been a soldier for 8 years. He had seen battles before, but he had never seen anything like this. All units to defense positions. Captain's voice came through the radio. She was calm. She was always calm. We hold until the civilians reach the tunnels. No one breaks the line. Ho grabbed his rifle and ran. Around him, his squad moved like a machine. Private checked his ammunition. Corporal set up the heavy gun near the east wall. Specialist 1 worked on the communications, trying to send a message to Earth. "How many of them?" asked. His hands were shaking a little. "Does it matter?" Ho said. "We fight until we can't." The first wave hit them 20 minutes later. There were tall creatures with gray skin and 4 arms. They moved fast and they did not fear death. They came screaming across the open ground, and Ho's squad opened fire. Bodies fell, they kept coming. Ho shot one, then another, then 5 more. His arms hurt from the recoil. His ears rang from the noise. But he did not stop. He could not stop. "East wall is breaking," someone shouted. Ho looked and saw his position being overrun. He ran toward her, shooting as he moved. A soldier jumped at him, and he killed it with his knife. Another grabbed his arm, and he broke its neck with his bare hands. He reached too late. She lay on the ground with her eyes open, looking at nothing. A blade had found her heart. Screamed and ran toward them. "Stay in position," Ho ordered, but did not listen. He never reached them. An energy blast caught him in the chest and he fell. The battle went on for 3 hours. 3 hours of fire and blood and screaming. Ho watched his friends die one by one. One was killed trying to protect the communication tower. Sergeant Park was torn apart by grenades. Private Minu bled out in Ho's arms, asking for his mother. When the sun began to set, only 12 humans were left standing. Captain was one of them. Ho was another. "The civilians are almost clear," said. Her face was covered in blood and dirt. 10 more minutes. We just need 10 more minutes." "We don't have 10 minutes," Ho said. He pointed at the horizon. More ships were landing, fresh soldiers to replace the ones they had killed. Smiled. It was a sad smile, the smile of someone who knew they were going to die. "Then we make them pay for every second." She led the charge herself. Captain, who had trained Ho when he was just a scared young man, ran straight at the enemy with her rifle blazing. Ho followed her. The others followed him. They surrounded them. They fought back to back, a small circle of humans against an ocean of gray bodies. One by one, the circle grew smaller. Then there were only 2 left, Ho and... A blade cut across stomach. She fell against Ho and he caught her, still shooting with one hand. "The transport, it launched," she whispered. Blood poured from her wound. "The civilians, they made it." "Captain, stay with me," Ho begged. But she was already fatting. Her eyes found his and she grabbed his collar with weak fingers. "Make them remember us, Ho. Make them remember what we did here. Promise me." "I promise," he said. She died in his arms. Something broke inside Ho at that moment, or maybe something was born. He laid his body down gently and stood up. They surrounded him, hundreds of them, their weapons pointed at his chest. Ho did not feel fear. He did not feel pain. He felt nothing at all except cold, hard purpose. He picked up his rifle and fired. He killed 30 more before his ammunition ran out. He killed 10 more with his knife. He killed 5 more with his bare hands. When he finally fell, his body broken and burned, he had built a wall of bodies around him. The commanders looked at the lone human lying in the ashes. He was still breathing. Barely. Around him lay the bodies of over 200 soldiers and all of his human friends. "Should we finish him?" a soldier asked. The commander looked at Ho for a long moment. This small, fragile creature had fought like a demon. It had cost them too much already. "Leave him," the commander said. "He is broken. Let him die slowly. Let him suffer." The forces moved on. They had a moon to conquer. But they made a mistake that day. A mistake that would haunt the Dominion for generations. Hours later, as fire burned all around him and ash fell like snow, Ho opened his eyes. He looked at the bodies of his friends. He looked at the burning outpost that had been his home. He looked at the orange sky filled with enemy ships. And he stood up. The man called Ho had died with his friends. The thing that rose from the ashes was something else. Something that felt no pain. Something that knew no fear. Something that had only one purpose left in the world. He made a promise, and he was going to keep it. Ho began to walk through the burning hell, and the Dominion had no idea what they had created. Ho walked for 3 days through the wasteland. They had burned everything. Cities were now ruins. Farms were now ash. The moon that had once been full of life was now a graveyard. He did not eat on the first day. He did not sleep on the second. His wounds should have killed him, but they did not. He kept walking, one foot in front of the other, through the smoke and the fire. On the third day he found a dead patrol. There were 5 of them killed by something, maybe other humans, maybe an accident. Ho did not care. He took their weapons, he took their armor, he took their food. He was not the same man anymore. The old Ho would have buried the bodies, even enemy bodies. This new Ho simply stepped over them and kept walking. On the 5th day, he found the survivors. They were hiding in an old storage building, deep in the ruins of a small town. A woman with tired eyes pointed a broken rifle at him when he entered. "Stay back," she shouted. "I will shoot." Ho looked at her. She was small and thin. Her hands were shaking. The rifle in her hands was not even loaded. "You can lower that," he said. His voice sounded strange to his own ears. Cold, empty. "I am human." The woman stared at him for a long moment. Then she lowered the rifle and started to cry. Her name was Min. She was a doctor before the invasion. Behind her hid a young boy named Jinwoo, maybe 15 years old. His parents had died in the first attack, and in the corner sat an old woman named who refused to speak. "We thought everyone was dead," Min said. She gave Ho water and tried to look at his wounds. "How are you still alive? These burns, these cuts. You should not be standing." "I am not alive," Ho said. "I am just not dead yet." Min did not understand, but Jinwoo did. The boy looked at Ho with wide eyes, seeing something the adults could not see. He saw a man who had nothing left to lose. "What is your plan?" Min asked. "There must be rescue coming. We just need to hide until they arrive." Ho shook his head. "No rescue is coming. Earth is too far, the control space around this moon. We are alone." "Then what do we do?" Ho stood up. He checked his stolen rifle. "You stay hidden. I am going hunting." "Hunting for what?" He did not answer. He walked out into the night. The patrol was easy to find. They were loud. They were confident. They thought they had won. They thought there was nothing left to fear on this moon. There were 12 of them. Ho watched them from the shadows for an hour. He learned their patterns. He learned their weaknesses. When the moment was right, he moved. Jinwoo had followed him. The boy hid behind a broken wall and watched what happened next. Years later, he would still have nightmares about it. Ho did not fight like a soldier. He fought like a ghost. One moment he was shadow. The next moment a soldier was dead on the ground. He made no sound. He wasted no movement. He killed with his hands, his knife, his stolen weapons. They tried to fight back. They fired their weapons into the darkness. They screamed orders. They called for help. But their communications were dead. Ho had cut the wires before he attacked. One by one they fell. The last soldier saw Ho coming for him. The alien tried to beg. Ho did not understand the words and did not care. His knife ended the conversation. When it was over, Ho stood in the middle of 12 bodies. He had not taken a single new wound. He was not even breathing hard. Jinwoo stepped out from his hiding place. His legs were shaking. How did you do that?" the boy whispered. Ho looked at him. For a moment, something almost human flickered in his eyes. "I told you to stay hidden. I wanted to help." "You cannot help with this." Ho walked past him. "Go back to the others. Tell them I found food in the supplies. Tell them to stay quiet and stay hidden." "What are you going to do?" Ho stopped. He looked up at the dark sky where ships still flew in the distance. "I am going to make them afraid." Over the next weeks, Ho hunted. Every night he went out alone. Every morning he returned with supplies taken from dead soldiers. The survivors grew. More humans came out of hiding. They had heard rumors of a man who killed patrols single-handed. They wanted to find him. They wanted to join him. Ho was a miner who knew the underground tunnels, was a young woman who could hack into communications. One by one, they found Ho, and one by one, he put them to work. But he never let them fight beside him. "Not yet. You are not ready," he told them, "and I do not want to watch more people die." Min worried about him. She saw the way he sat alone in the dark. She saw the way he talked to himself sometimes, whispering names that meant nothing to her. "1. You need to rest," she told him one night. "Your body cannot take this much longer." Ho looked at her with his cold, empty eyes. "My body stopped mattering a long time ago." Meanwhile, they were growing afraid. Every patrol that went out came back smaller, or did not come back at all. Bodies were found in the morning with no explanation. Equipment went missing. Communications went dead. The soldiers started talking. They said something was hunting them, something that moved through fire without burning, something that could not be killed. They called it the Ashwalker. Commander received the reports and read them with growing unease. He was a veteran of 100 battles. He did not believe in ghosts. But when he watched the security footage from a destroyed patrol, he saw a human moving through his soldiers like death itself. He sent a message to his superiors: "We have a problem." The soldier stood guard outside the supply base. His name was, and he hated this moon. He hated the cold nights. He hated the empty buildings. Most of all, he hated the fear that had spread through the army like a disease. Everyone was talking about the Ashwalker. Some said it was a demon. Some said it was a machine. Some said it was a dead human who had come back for revenge. Did not believe any of it. Humans were weak. Humans were prey. One human could not possibly be doing all the things they said. Then the lights went out. The base fell into complete darkness, heard shouting from inside. He raised his weapon and looked around, trying to see into the black night. Something moved in the shadows to his left. He turned, nothing. Something moved behind him. He spun around, nothing. Then a hand covered his mouth. A knife found his throat, and learned in his final moment that the stories were all true. Inside the base, chaos was everywhere. The soldiers fired their weapons at every shadow. They screamed at each other in the dark. Some shot their own friends by mistake. One by one, the screams stopped. When the lights came back on 30 minutes later, 40 soldiers lay dead. The human prisoners were gone, and on the wall, written in blood, was a single word: remember. Commander arrived the next morning. He walked through the base slowly, looking at each body. His officers followed him in silence. "How many attackers?" he asked. We do not know, Commander," said one of his officers. "The survivors say they never saw anyone clearly, just a shadow, just a ghost." "Ghosts do not exist." "No, Commander, but something does." Stopped in front of the bloody word on the wall. He stared at it for a long time. "Show me the security footage." The footage was broken and incomplete. The darkness made it hard to see. But there were moments, brief flashes, where something became visible. A human shape moving through the halls, fast, silent, deadly. Watched one clip over and over. In it, a human came face to face with one of his soldiers. The soldier fired his weapon. The human moved sideways and forward at the same time, faster than seemed possible. Then the soldier was falling and the human was already gone. "This is one man," said slowly. "One single human." "Yes, Commander." Felt something he had not felt in many years. Fear. Not fear of the human himself, but fear of what the human meant. His soldiers were losing their courage. They were starting to believe they could not win. He sent a new message to High Command. "The situation is worse than we reported. The humans have a weapon we do not understand." Across the moon, Ho sat in the darkness of an abandoned building. Min was wrapping fresh bandages around his arms. Jinwoo watched from the corner, unable to sleep. "You saved 20 people tonight," Min said. 20 prisoners who would have died." Ho did not respond. "Does that mean nothing to you?" He looked at her. In the dim light, his face seemed made of stone. "It means I kept 20 more people alive. It means I have 20 more chances to hurt them. That is not why you did it. It is the only reason that matters." Min finished the bandages and sat back. "I was wrong about you. When I first saw you, I thought you were empty inside. I thought the war had taken everything from you." "It did." "No," she shook her head. "A truly empty man would not care about prisoners. He would not bring food back to survivors. He would not protect a boy like Jinwoo." Ho said nothing. "You still have something inside you, something human. I see it sometimes when you think no one is watching." For a long moment Ho was quiet. Then he spoke, his voice barely above a whisper. "I made a promise to someone, to my captain as she died in my arms. I told her I would make them remember us, remember what we fought for." "Is that why you wrote that word on the wall?" "Yes, I want them to remember. Every soldier, every commander. I want them to remember what they did here. I want them to remember the price they paid." Outside, the sun was rising. Another day on the burned moon. Another day of war. Ran into the building, her face excited. "I intercepted a transmission. They are bringing more soldiers, elite warriors. They call them the Pale Guard." Ho followed her, looking worried. "The Pale Guard are their best fighters. They are the ones they send when they want to make sure something dies." "They are coming for you," told Ho. "The transmission said their only mission is to find and kill the Ash Walker." Jinwoo looked scared. "What do we do?" Everyone waited for Ho's answer. The man who had become a legend stood up slowly. He walked to the window and looked out at the ruined landscape. "We let them come," he said. "We let them hunt, and then we show them what it means to become the prey." He turned to face the others. For the first time in weeks, something like a smile crossed his face. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of a wolf looking at sheep who thought they were wolves. "The Pale Guard are coming to kill a ghost, but ghosts cannot be killed. They can only be joined." Far away, Commander watched the ships carrying the Pale Guard enter the atmosphere. He felt relief. Surely these elite warriors would end the nightmare. He was wrong. The nightmare was just beginning. The Pale Guard landed on the moon like an army of nightmares. They were bigger than normal soldiers. Their skin was darker, almost black. Their eyes glowed red in the night. They had been bred for one purpose only, to kill. Their captain was named. He had never failed a mission. He had never met an enemy he could not destroy. When he heard about the Ash Walker, he laughed. "One human," he said to Commander. "You called us here for one human." "Did not laugh. Watch the footage. Then tell me if you still think this is funny." Watched. When the footage ended, he was no longer laughing, but he was not afraid either. He was excited. Finally, an enemy worth killing. "Where is he hiding?" asked. "We do not know. Every time we find his location, he is already gone." "Then we will not look for him. We will make him come to us." The Pale Guard began their hunt the next day. They did not search for Ho. Instead, they searched for human survivors. They found a small group hiding in the eastern mountains, 20 men, women, and children. The message was sent on all frequencies, knowing the humans would hear it. Surrender the Ash Walker in 3 days, or these humans die. Ho heard the message. He sat in the darkness and said nothing for a long time. You cannot go, Min said. That is what they want. They will kill you. They will kill the prisoners either way, Ho replied. Then we all go, said Ho. We fight together. No, Ho's voice was final. The Pale Guard are not normal soldiers. They will kill all of you. And they will not kill you. Ho stood up. He began checking his weapons one by one. Maybe they will, but I will take as many of them with me as I can. That night Min found him sitting alone on the roof, looking at the stars. I need to tell you something, she said, sitting beside him. You are going to tell me not to go. No, I know you will go. Nothing I say will stop you. She was quiet for a moment. I want to tell you that I understand now. I understand what drives you. He looked at her. You are not fighting because you want to die. You are fighting because you cannot let yourself live, not while their faces are still in your memory, not while your promise is still unkept. Ho turned away. You see too much. I am a doctor. I see what is broken in people. She put her hand on his arm. But broken things can be fixed, Ho. When this is over, when the fighting stops, maybe you can learn to live again. There is no after for me. There could be, if you let it. He did not answer, but for a moment, just a moment, the stone mask cracked. She saw the man underneath. The man who had lost everything and was trying so hard to pretend he felt nothing. The next morning, Ho left alone. The Pale Guard had set their trap in an old mining complex. It was a maze of tunnels and rooms, perfect for an ambush. Had positioned his 50 warriors throughout the complex. Wherever the Ash Walker went, he would find enemies waiting. Ho walked through the front entrance in broad daylight. The first 10 Pale Guard attacked from the shadows. They were fast, faster than any he had fought before. But Ho was not surprised. He had expected this. He killed the first one with a shot to the head. The second one took 3 shots before it fell. The third one reached him and he fought it hand to hand, breaking its arm before cutting its throat. The battle spread through the complex. Ho moved from room to room, tunnel to tunnel. Every corner held more enemies. Every shadow hid another attack. He was wounded in the first hour. A Pale Guard blade cut across his back. He killed the attacker and kept fighting. He was wounded again in the second hour, and again in the third. His body was covered in blood, some his own, most belonging to his enemies. By the 4th hour, 20 Pale Guard lay dead. Ho found the prisoners and freed them. Run, he told them. Follow the tunnels east. My people will find you. What about you? Asked a young woman, her eyes wide with fear and hope. I am not done yet. He turned and walked deeper into the complex, toward the sound of more enemies coming. The battle went on for 6 hours. 6 hours of blood and pain and death. Ho fought until his ammunition ran out. He fought with his knife until the blade broke. He fought with his hands until he could barely lift them. Finally found him in the deepest part of the complex. Ho was on his knees, surrounded by bodies. The captain of the Pale Guard had never seen so much destruction caused by one being. You are the Ash Walker, said. I expected something more. Ho looked up. His face was covered in blood. One of his eyes was swollen shut, but he smiled. You brought 50 warriors, 37 are dead. Is that not enough? Attacked, he was the best fighter they had ever produced. His blows were like thunder. His speed was like lightning. But Ho had stopped being human a long time ago. The fight lasted 10 minutes. At the end, lay dead on the ground with a broken neck. Ho stood over him, barely able to breathe. Then he fell. The surviving Pale Guard found him there, unconscious in a pool of blood. They looked at each other with something new in their eyes. Fear, real fear. What do we do with him? One asked. Leave him, said another. He is dead, he must be dead. They ran. Hours later, Min led a rescue team into the complex. They followed the trail of bodies until they found him. He was still breathing, barely. She knelt beside him and took his hand. "You do not get to leave us," she whispered. "Not yet, not until this is finished." Ho's eyes opened just a little. He looked at her and tried to speak. "Rest," she said. "We have you now, and this time you are going to let us help you." She was crying. She did not know why. Maybe because she had thought she would find him dead. Maybe because, against all logic, he was still alive. The ghost of war had survived again, and the war was not over yet. 3 weeks passed. Ho lay in the darkness of a hidden shelter while his body slowly healed. Min stayed by his side, changing his bandages, giving him water, making sure he did not die. For the first time since Station 9, Ho dreamed. He dreamed of Captain. She stood in a field of white flowers looking at him with sad eyes. "You kept your promise," she said in the dream, "but the war is not over." "I know," he replied. "Do not die yet, Ho. There are still people who need you." He woke up with tears on his face. Min was there watching him. She did not ask about the dream. She did not need to. On the 15th day, burst into the shelter with news. "Ships, human ships, they are entering the system." The United Earth Fleet had finally arrived. Hundreds of warships filled the sky above 7B. For the first time in months, they were not the only power in the region. Commander watched the human fleet from his command center. His hands were shaking. The Pale Guard had failed. The Ash Walker was still alive, and now a full military force was coming. "What are your orders, Commander?" asked his officer. Thought about his options. He could fight, he could die, or he could do something he had never done before. "Contact the human fleet," he said. "Tell them we wish to discuss terms." But before any negotiation could happen, the human resistance launched their attack. Ho led them. He was not fully healed. He could barely walk without pain. But when he heard that the final battle was beginning, he refused to stay behind. "You will die," Min told him. "Maybe, but I will die on my feet, not on my back." Ho had planned the attack. He knew the tunnels under the command center. He knew how to get inside without being seen. "We blow the gates, we get in, we take down their leadership. Simple." "Nothing is ever simple," Ho said, "but let us do it anyway." They moved through the tunnels in the dark. 50 human fighters, the largest force they had ever gathered. Jinwoo was with them, despite Ho's orders. The boy had refused to stay behind. "I am not a child anymore," Jinwoo said. "I have seen too much to be a child." Ho looked at him for a long moment, then he nodded. "Stay close to me, and if I tell you to run, you run." They reached the gates of the command center just as the fleet battle began in orbit. Explosions lit up the sky. Human and ships fought and died above them. Ho set the charges on the gates. "Everyone back," he shouted. The explosion was massive. The gates fell. Soldiers poured out to meet them. The battle was unlike anything they had fought before. Humans and killing each other in the smoke and fire. People Ho had grown to know fell around him. Fighters who had followed him for months, dead in seconds. Ho was one of them. The old miner took a blast meant for and fell without a sound. Ho saw it happen but could not stop. He could not mourn, not yet. Old, the woman who had not spoken since her family died, picked up a rifle from a fallen soldier. She fired at the until a blade found her heart. She died with her eyes open, looking at the sky. Ho pushed forward, always forward. He killed every who stood in his way. His body screamed with pain, but he did not listen. He could not stop now, not when they were so close. He found Commander in the central chamber. The leader stood alone, his officers dead around him. He held a blade in his hand but did not raise it. "You are the Ash Walker," said, "the ghost that has haunted my army." "I am just a soldier," Ho replied. "I had people I wanted to protect, friends I wanted to remember, a promise I needed to keep." Lowered his blade, I have studied your kind. I thought humans were weak, easy to conquer, easy to break. He looked at Ho with something like respect. I was wrong. You are the most terrible thing I have ever seen. Yes, Ho said, we are. He raised his weapon, did not try to dodge. Perhaps he was tired. Perhaps he knew he deserved what was coming. The shot echoed through the chamber. The commander fell. The battle ended. Hours later, Ho stood in the ruins of Station 9, the place where everything had begun, the place where his friends had died. Jinwoo found him there, standing in the ashes. What are you doing? The boy asked. Ho was quiet for a moment. Then he spoke, his voice soft and tired. I am keeping my promise. He knelt in the ashes and touched the ground. 1. He spoke each name slowly, carefully. I kept my promise. They will remember us. They will never forget what happened here. They will never forget what we did. Tears ran down his face. For the first time since the invasion began, he allowed himself to feel. The war was over. The liberation was complete. In orbit, the fleet was surrendering to the humans. On the ground, survivors were coming out of hiding for the first time in months. Min found Ho in the ruins. She said nothing. She simply sat beside him and held his hand. What happens now? Jinwoo asked. Ho looked up at the sky where human ships now flew instead of ones. Now we rebuild. Now we heal. Now we learn to live again. Can you do that? Min asked gently. Can you learn to live? He thought about it for a long time. I do not know, but I will try for them. He gestured at the ruins around him. For everyone who died so we could survive. A year later, a diplomat visited Earth. He came for peace talks, for trade agreements, for the future of two species. But he had one question that burned in his mind. The ghost of war, he asked a human official. The Ash Walker, is the legend true? The official smiled. Sergeant Ho was just one man, but here is what your people never understood about humanity. She gestured out the window at the busy streets of Seoul. Millions of people going about their lives, working, laughing, living. Every single one of us has that same fire inside. You just have to give us a reason to let it out. The diplomat looked at the humans walking below. He thought about the reports. One man, a single soldier, had killed hundreds of their finest warriors. One man had become a legend that made the Dominion shake with fear. And now he was being told there were billions more just like him. For the first time in his life, the diplomat understood true fear. The story of the ghost of war spread across the galaxy. Other species heard it and learned a simple lesson. Do not invade human space. Do not harm human civilians. Do not create another Ash Walker. Because humans are not prey, they are something far more dangerous. They are creatures who remember. And they never forget.